What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a massive shift in global naval power that is challenging the old rules of the game. Imagine a modern battlefield in the middle of the ocean. In an era where waters are increasingly contested, nations can no longer rely solely on buying weapons from traditional superpowers. This has sparked a new race for self-reliance and technological supremacy. Today, I'm taking you deep into a high-tech clash between two modern frigates that represent the absolute pride of their respective nations. In one corner, representing the Indian Ocean, we have Project 17A, the Indian Navy's Nilgiri-class frigate. This is a massive warship, hiding its teeth behind advanced stealth technology. In the other corner, representing the Mediterranean, we have the Turkish Navy's MİLGEM project, specifically the TCG Istanbul. It's an agile, aggressive wolf of the sea. So who truly rules the waters in this new era? Let's find out. Before we geek out over the weapons, we need to understand the design philosophy behind these two ships, because it perfectly reflects the unique threats each country faces. For India, the Nilgiri-class wasn't built for simple coastal patrols. They built it to counter the expanding influence of the Chinese Navy in the Indian Ocean. India needs a blue water vessel that can operate in the open ocean for extended periods, withstand rough seas, and most importantly, carry enough heavy firepower to cripple an enemy fleet. Türkiye, on the other hand, took a very different path. After learning a hard lesson from Western arms embargoes, Türkiye made a commitment that the MİLGEM project would rely as much as possible on homegrown technology. They needed a highly maneuverable ship tailored for the complex, island-dense geography of the Aegean and Mediterranean seas. Therefore, the TCG Istanbul was designed to be a hunter, focused on fast, hit-and-run, devastating attacks. Now let's look at the design and stealth technology. Round 1 is fascinating because we're looking at a massive difference in size. The Indian Nilgiri-class displaces around 6,770 tons. Let's be honest, that is essentially the size of a destroyer, even though India classifies it as a frigate. This massive size meant Indian engineers had to work incredibly hard to reduce its radar cross-section. They utilized angular hull designs, concealed radar-reflecting equipment internally, and used composite materials in the superstructure to absorb radar waves. So despite being a giant, it can disguise itself on an enemy radar screen as a much smaller vessel. Cutting over to the Turkish TCG Istanbul, this ship displaces around 3,000 tons, less than half the size of the Nilgiri. But that compact size is its biggest tactical advantage. Türkiye designed this ship with an incredibly clean profile. There's almost no equipment cluttering the exterior. The mast is an integrated mast design, hiding all the radars and sensors completely out of sight. Combined with its naturally small footprint, detecting this ship on radar is a nightmare for the enemy. If we're talking about pure stealth and hiding in plain sight, the Istanbul has the physical advantage. But in terms of sheer intimidation when it finally reveals itself, the Nilgiri takes the crown. Once you're hidden, the next critical factor is who sees who first. That brings us to round 2, radars and sensors. The eyes of the fleet are the ultimate matter of life and death in modern naval warfare. India opted for top-tier radar from Israel, integrated with their own tech, the MF Star. This is a 4-panel AESA radar mounted around the mast, and it is incredibly powerful. It can simultaneously track hundreds of air and surface targets at distances of several hundred kilometers. Whether the enemy is coming in with fighter jets or sea-skimming cruise missiles, this radar will catch them and feed the data to the weapons systems in real time. It's a highly robust air defense net. Meanwhile, Türkiye is not stepping back. As I mentioned, their focus is self-reliance, so they installed the SENK-S radar, an AESA radar developed 100% domestically by Türkiye. It serves as both a search and fire control radar in one unit. The real genius here is how perfectly it syncs with the Advent combat management system, software also written entirely by Türkiye. This system is praised for being incredibly smart and fast. It analyzes threats and recommends the optimal weapon to the ship's commander in a split second. Because Turkey built everything in-house, from the hardware to the software, there are absolutely no blind spots or compatibility issues. And now, round 3, the one you've been waiting for: firepower. This is where the differences between these two warships become crystal clear. Let's start with India's knockout punch. The Nilgiri-class packs 8 vertical launch cells for the BrahMos anti-ship cruise missile. This is widely considered one of the deadliest missiles on the planet. It flies at supersonic speeds of Mach 3. Think about that. If a missile is coming at your ship at 3 times the speed of sound, your defense systems only have seconds to react. And the kinetic energy alone from a single hit can snap a large warship in half and send it to the bottom of the ocean. Even crazier, the latest extended range version has pushed its striking distance up to 800 kilometers. For air defense, the Nilgiri is heavily armed with 32 VLS cells for the Barak 8 missile, providing 360-degree protection. It is truly built to dominate a massive area of operation. Looking over at Türkiye, the TCG Istanbul might be smaller, but its fighting style is equally terrifying. Türkiye uses their homegrown anti-ship cruise missile called the Atmaca. While it may not be as fast as the BrahMos, its party trick is that it flies incredibly low. We're talking extreme sea skimming. It features a complex guidance system that can zigzag to evade enemy radar. And the kicker? The Istanbul packs 16 of these missiles. Imagine 16 missiles swarming a single target at once. It's a literal wolf pack tearing apart its prey. For air defense, Türkiye recently integrated their own mid-lass vertical launch system with 16 cells for the Hisar D missiles. For its compact size, this ship is armed to the teeth. Alright, to give you a true head-to-head perspective, let's bring up the spec comparison table. I've also included a rough order of magnitude, or ROM cost, so we can see exactly what kind of bang for the buck these two nations are getting. Let's check it out. Looking at the numbers, the differences are striking. Starting with the size, the Nilgiri is in a completely different weight class at 6,770 tons and 149 meters long, while the Istanbul is a compact 3,000 tons, though they both run at a similar top speed of around 28 to 29 knots. What's really fascinating is the crew size. The massive Nilgiri requires 226 personnel, whereas the TCG Istanbul only needs 125. This perfectly highlights the cutting-edge automation in modern warships that drastically cuts down manpower. Looking at the firepower, it is absolutely brutal. The Nilgiri packs 8 BrahMos missiles with a ridiculous new range of 800 kilometers. It can lock onto targets long before they even see the ship. Meanwhile, the TCG Istanbul relies on overwhelming volume, packing 16 Atmaca missiles with a solid 250-kilometer range. As for air defense, it's 32 VLS cells versus 16. But the real highlight here is the price tag. The Nilgiri comes in at an estimated $600 million USD per ship. That is a massive investment to create a floating fortress in the open ocean. On the flip side, the TCG Istanbul is incredibly cost-effective at around $350 million USD. That means Türkiye can practically build 2 of these sea wolves for the price of 1 Nilgiri. It's clear that these two ships weren't built to fight each other directly. They were engineered to counter specific threats in vastly different geographic environments. India wanted a mobile iron wall to protect the ocean, while Türkiye wanted a lethal hunter to defend its coastlines and open seas. Both are prime examples that when a country commits to developing its own military technology, they can build platforms that rival the traditional Western powers. But wait, before we talk about who is buying these ships, we need to address the elephant in the room, the modern reality of asymmetric warfare. If you've been paying attention to global naval conflicts recently, particularly the lessons learned in the Black Sea, you know that multi-million-dollar warships are now facing a terrifying cheap threat. We're talking about kamikaze drone swarms and unmanned surface vessels, or USVs. How do these two frigates survive in a new era where a $20,000 drone can take out a $500 million ship? This is where their design philosophies clash yet again. The Nilgiri, being a massive 6,670-ton giant, is inherently a larger target,
But India didn't leave it exposed. To counter drone swarms and incoming loitering munitions, the Nilgiri relies on a heavily layered defense network. It utilizes its dual AK-630M close-in weapons systems, basically massive rotary cannons, to shred incoming low-cost threats, backed by intense electronic warfare jamming. However, when it comes to the business of drone warfare, Türkiye is currently playing chess while the rest of the world plays checkers. Because Türkiye is a recognized global superpower in drone manufacturing, think of the famous Bayraktar combat drones, they deeply understand how these autonomous hunters operate. The TCG Istanbul is uniquely equipped to survive this new era. It's fitted with the Aselsan Gökdeniz dual-barrel CIWS, specifically programmed with smart airburst ammunition to annihilate drone swarms. But it goes deeper than kinetics. The ship features a homegrown, state-of-the-art electronic warfare suite designed to sever the communication links of incoming drones before they even get within firing range. Furthermore, the Istanbul-class isn't just designed to fight drones, it's designed to command them. Türkiye is actively integrating unmanned surface vessels like the ULAK with the Advent combat system, effectively allowing the Istanbul to act as a mothership orchestrating its own robotic fleet. This brings up a fascinating geopolitical shift. India and Türkiye aren't just building these ships to defend their own borders anymore, they're actively disrupting the global arms monopoly historically held by the US, Russia, and China. They're offering developing nations a brand new third option, top-tier, combat-proven technology without the heavy political strings attached by the traditional superpowers. And for those of you watching the global defense market, this tech is already making huge waves, especially in Southeast Asia. For instance, companies like TAIS Shipyards and Asfot, the key players behind Türkiye's MİLGEM project, are currently top contenders in the Royal Thai Navy's new frigate program. What's exciting is that Thailand set a strict requirement for at least 20% local construction to ensure technology transfer. This is a massive strength for Türkiye, a country known for being generous with tech transfers to its allies. But if you think this is just a future possibility, look at Indonesia. They're already making their move. Recently, Indonesia signed a historic deal to purchase 2 Istanbul-class frigates from Türkiye's TAIS. And the best part? PT PAL, Indonesia's state-owned shipbuilder, is heavily involved in receiving this advanced technology transfer. Reports even suggest Türkiye sacrificed a ship currently being built for its own navy to expedite delivery to Indonesia. This proves that Turkish defense brands are aggressively expanding into Asia, ready to share their tech with their partners. If we dig into the numbers of that Indonesian deal, it gets really interesting. The total contract for those 2 ships is around $1 billion USD. If you do the math, that's $500 million per ship. Now, you might be wondering, why is it so much higher than the $350 million base price in our table? The answer is simple. Indonesia isn't just buying empty warships, they're paying for the knowledge. They're buying the technology transfer for PT PAL along with the weapon systems, training, and operational setup. That is the true cost of self-reliance. Indonesia is willing to pay a premium to secure world-class technology on their own soil. It really makes you wonder which other nations will step up and make that same investment. So I turn it over to you. What do you think of these top-tier warships? If you were a fleet commander in a crisis, which frigate would you choose to defend your waters? The heavy, long-range striking power of the Nilgiri, or the agile, cost-effective lethality of the TCG Istanbul? And do you think more countries should follow Indonesia's model of buying technology transfer? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I can't wait to read your insights. If you enjoy deep dive military analysis like this, don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Mix, and I'll see you in the next video.